My name is Shannon. I'm a wife, a mom, and a shay-shay. I'm a speaker, an author, and a recording artist. But most importantly, I am a child of God. Every day, I seek to live out my faith with truth and transparency. But most days, I just need grace in high heels. Hello and welcome to this edition of Grace in High Heels. I'm your host, Shannon Perry, and we have a wonderful show planned for you today. Vocalist, speaker, author, and writer Bonnie Keene is here to talk about her journey through divorce, single parenting, and the grace of a second chance. Also, our lovely cooking expert, Karen Pashley, joins us in the Grace Kitchen to wow us with another recipe we can easily make so we can wow those we love. But first, the cute shoe feature of the day. Hey, pair these shoes with a cute little black dress or a pair of black pants and you'll be looking good. As my mama always said, false eyelashes and cute shoes make everything better. And speaking of cute, thanks to all of you who send pictures of your pets doing the cutest thing. Today's picture comes from Carol of her granddaughter Gracie with their sweet rescue dog Sadie. Sadie was near death when this family found her and her 10 puppies. All of the puppies were nurtured back to health, given great new homes, and Sadie is living like a queen today. Hey, thank you, Carol, for sharing Gracie and Sadie's wonderful story with us and for being the family that rescued Sadie and all those babies. Hey, send us your pet having their cutest moment, and they could be a star right here on Grace in High Heels. Speaking of Grace, we get to hear from a member of our Grace and Guts Girls Book Club. Grace and Guts is my latest book that teaches you how to throw the knockout punch to the 12 areas women say they struggle with the most. Today's question comes from Lisa.
Hi, Shannon. My question comes from Chapter 7 of Grace and Guts. I'm single, and even though God has blessed me with some wonderful friends, every now and then, I feel alone. What can I do when I struggle with loneliness?
Hey, Lisa, thanks for your question. I was single for many years before I married David, and I remember some intensely lonely times. But even married people can have those moments. So, one of the best ways we can defeat loneliness is by reaching out to serve others. It's amazing how quickly we get ourselves off of our mind and our loneliness leaves when we invest in others. But sometimes God may actually have us in a place of isolation. There have been times when I was lonely and I realized He allowed me to be alone, not lonely, because He wanted my undivided attention. When He pulls us to the side for a season to be with Him, even though we can feel lonely, that's actually a really good place to be because that means He's getting us ready for something that He wants to do through us. So pray and find out if He's got you put on a shelf for a season or if it's your season to serve. Either way, your loneliness will dissipate. If you haven't read Grace and Guts, you can pick up a copy wherever books are sold. And when you do, my prayer is that you would find the grace to fight through whatever you're facing, as God gives you the guts to do it. If you'd like to join the Grace and Guts Girls Book Club, it's free. Log on to shannonperry.com and send us your thoughts. You could be in the next video we share.
Women are warriors. We fight for our families, our friends, and our faith. But we're often hesitant to enter the ring when it comes to caring for ourselves. Our opponent comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy. He throws every possible punch to knock us down for the count. But we've already been promised that we'll win the round when we find the guts to enter the ring and the grace to endure the fight. To become the champion, we learn strategies that outsmart our opponent. Then we take our shot. We stay on our feet, even when we're on the ropes. And with endurance and determination, we face our enemy. We refuse to let our opponent defeat us. We may get tired in the fight, but we won't quit. We know the promise of victory, and we will never settle for anything less.
Well, I'm so excited about introducing you to our next guest. Bonnie Keene is a founding member of the critically acclaimed trio First Call. She's received 3 Dove Awards, 5 Grammy nominations, and an Emmy nomination for her work as a recording artist, author, and speaker. Bonnie knows firsthand of how God truly works all things together for good when His grace invades our toughest moments, and we're so grateful that she's here to share her journey with us today. Thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you for having me.
Here. It's so good to see you again, my friend.
You as well.
But God has written an incredible story in your life, Bonnie, and so I want our viewers to hear about that because He's done some incredible things, and I know they'll be encouraged by what He's done for you. You found yourself divorced and a single parent of 2 kids. Walk us through that journey. You were right in the middle of all of the great things that God was doing for you when that happened. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think my story is not really that much more unusual than a lot of people that will be watching. So many of us have ended up in a divorce that we did not anticipate. And my children were very young. They were 6 and 2 years old when I went through that time. First Call was about to sign our largest record deal after recording for about 10, 12 years and really having a lot of visibility in the marketplace. And being a native Nashvilleian, a lot of people here in town knew me, watching my family, watching this thing happen. It was really difficult. It was embarrassing. No matter what brings you to a divorce, you feel a lot of shame. But I did not do it in a very pretty way, I don't guess. I mean, like, I agonized a lot. Some people say, it was fine. We just walked through it, and I don't know how you do that. It's a tearing apart of your the fabric of their lives, and a commitment that was made in front of a lot of people who love you. It was something I thought that there was no turning back from. It was kind of inevitable. But I grew a lot through that, as everybody does, through a lot of pain. And God did meet me in the lowest moments. I went through a clinical depression and just hit a lot of walls. I was kind of an abysmal failure in the dating scene again. I kept getting into relationships that I thought would fix my life and fix my kids. And in God's great mercy, He allowed me to hurt long enough to see that the only place that you heal is in His hands. So that was a turning point for me that I think I continue to heal from. It's ongoing.
What do you think are the greatest challenges that you faced as a single mom?
Yeah, well, I think any single mom is terrified because you don't know how to be enough. You don't know how to be enough of both parents. That's how I felt. How am I going to fix all the places and be everywhere I have to be enough for my kids? And mercifully, again, God kept saying to me, you can't be enough. You cannot do this without me.
So many single parents say, I need some support and I don't have that.
Yeah.
Did you have support going through all that?
I had great support. I had, my kids were in this school with a lot of really great families that were very, intact and whole, that stepped in and became like second families to us. My mom and dad stepped up. They live here in town and helped with a lot of transportation and daily things. But I can look back and see where God just placed pivotal people. And Russ and Tori Taff, really great friends. I mean, they really were family and spoke into my kids' lives in various ways. They helped raise my kids. So
one of the toughest places that single parents find themselves in, Bonnie, and I don't know if this was you, but you still have to co-parent with that person that you're no longer living with.
Yeah.
And that's got to be tough.
Very hard.
And so do you have any words of wisdom? I know we have people watching who say, I'm there right now, I'm having to co-parent with this person I really don't even want to talk to or don't have a really good relationship with anymore, but it's for the best of our children. What would you say to that?
I was counseled with a lot of wisdom to not speak ill of my ex in front of my kids that they would figure out and put together the pieces that were missing as they grew up, which I tried to do. I do think there's a legitimate place of having to, for me, I do not want to be involved with my ex's life, but we do intersect. We have a wedding coming up pretty soon, which brings up a lot of those things. And I think that forgiveness for me is an ongoing journey. I didn't go through this, oh, it's forgiven and done. I don't really no, I daily have to look at situations that involve myself and say I have to be forgiven and I have to forgive other people in my life. I think it's a process. So I would say don't beat yourself up for having legitimate feelings of anger, hurt, resentment, guilt, but just keep taking that. I read a quote this week that said, forgiveness is the most difficult situation for humanity in general. And it was so difficult that it took God bringing himself as in his son in the world to solve it. So that's how big an issue forgiveness is.
Absolutely.
And I think that for me, that's still the challenge.
Yeah, and we're human.
And we're
feel
human.
we feel things.
We sure do.
But
yeah.
God has given you such an amazing grace because he gave you a second chance at love, and he brought someone into your life who's so wonderful. Tell us about that.
Yes, my second solo project is called God of Many Chances, and his mercies are new every morning. Not that marriage fixes your life, but I prayed a lot that if God were to ever bring someone into my life again, that it would be his person for his purposes. And I have a wonderful husband named Brent who walked in and took on me and my two kids with a lot of courage 21 years ago.
Wow.
So
wow.
we are still, and then, I always say too, for anybody listening, second marriages have their issues as well. Marriage is just tough.
Yeah.
Can be, but it's also a wonderful reflection of Christ and the church and how that works together and the sacrifices and the joy in that. So yeah, I believe God is just more merciful and full of grace than any of us know.
I think a lot of times we go through that shame factor too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there's so many things that I've done. I can't possibly have something good coming toward me. And God just says, I'm opening up my arms, I'm bringing it to you, and here it is. And that's such a beautiful example of his grace.
It is. I mean,
what
someone
he's done
said,
for
you can't out-sin the cross.
Oh,
So
good.
you can't out-shame the
So
cross. You
good.
can't,
Right.
we can't run too far from Jesus.
That's right. So there are some people watching today, Bonnie, that say, I hear your story, and that's nice that it has a great ending, but I'm
careful.
just...
No. I really don't like the nice ending thing because, what God began in us, he will complete in us.
That's
but
right.
I think from this side of heaven, I'm going to continue to hit some walls, new places that need to be looked at. And anybody that says to me they have it all wrapped up and figured out really kind of doesn't interest me.
I kind of want to meet them.
I kind of don't.
I kind of want to know that secret.
Yeah, because they look at the lives of the people in the Word. They were continually
That's right.
saying, "What do I do to become more like Christ? How do I deal with my past?" Paul, like, what is this thorn? Why do I do these things? What am I doing? How do I live for Christ? I think that is what keeps the journey really interesting and keeps us humble and grateful. For me, it does anyway.
Well, that's where he finds us.
That
He
he's
finds
still
us in that
doing things.
brokenness.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He finds us in that broken place when we think
Right.
there's nothing else, there's no hope, there's nothing else he's going to do, and he just invades those places. So
Yes.
if someone's watching and they say, how do I get there, Bonnie? How do I get to where you are?
I would say, like anybody else who ever does, you just get in the Word, and there's no police, there's no Bible police. You pick up the Word, you find places to read, you talk to God just like He's your Father. If you didn't have a father that you could feel good about, then you talk to Christ and say, just come and meet me where I am. Nobody has